Throughout my childhood from when I started school to about age 18, I would ask my mum what she wanted for Mother's Day, and every year she would say very clearly nothing. You don't need to get me anything at all. And so I didn't because I was a child and she was my mum, and I believed what she said. In my teens I just assumed it wasn't something she felt was important. I'm an only child, and my lovely dad who lived with us wasn't one for social conventions and didn't intervene. I'm not sure why, but aged 18 I started buying her a Mother's Day card and present which always went down well with her. After I had my own son, my mum decided to tell me that every Mother's Day that she didn't receive a present she would hide away and cry because I hadn't bought her anything and that everyone else had a lovely present and card except her. What's going on here? I'm 48 now and still feel weird about both her not telling child-aged me that she'd like some flowers or whatever, and also that she told adult-aged me about how I'd made her cry each year. If she brings it up again, tell her you are so glad that she is learning to communicate her wants and needs better. You were a child, don't blame yourself. You clearly couldn't drive to get it, it should have been your dad's job. Also, your mom should have communicated to you that she would like a card. How is a child supposed to read minds? Sounds like your mother is a bit on the passive-aggressive side. Seriously, what adult holds a kid responsible for taking them seriously? You asked, your mother said nothing. And you're a kid, you took her literally. If she ever brings it up again, gently shut her down. Because you were a kid. Your mother should have gently pointed you towards something. A card would be nice. I'm guessing that she helped you pick out a gift for Father's Day? OP. Thank you. Yes, she helped pick out a card and present for my dad. I, 27F, had bunion surgery a week ago and have a hard time getting around right now. I'm using crutches and have finally gotten the hang of them. My mom took me to an appointment a few days ago to check on the healing progression. Now for more information, this doctor's office is like an hour away from where I live, so on the way back I had to use the bathroom. It was lunchtime, so my mom pulled into a McDonald's so we could get a cheap lunch and I could go to the bathroom. Another thing to note, I have a hard time getting up from the toilet with the heavy cast and the crutches. As I was in the stall I heard someone come in the bathroom and huff that the handicap stall was in use. I felt bad, so I tried to hurry up the best I could. It took me longer than expected because again I was having issues getting up and had to use the bar on the side. Well, when I finally got out of the stall, this woman started screaming at me that her child, who was in a wheelchair, really needed that bathroom and that I was selfish for using it. She proceeded to yell at me the entire time I was trying to wash my hands. I was holding back tears because I don't like people yelling at me. I feel bad because her child was in a wheelchair, but I still feel like I'm covered and not the idiot. Maybe I'm wrong? Am I the idiot? You are temporarily disabled. The mother overreacted. At least to me, and if you were my kid that lady would have gotten an earful from me. Her kid's need for the bathroom doesn't trump your need for the bathroom. You needed those aids. The world ain't perfect, and sounds like she waited till the last minute to help her kid go. Not your fault at all. Not the idiot. P.S. I know you're not a child, but regardless you get the point. OP. Her yelling alerted my mom, who came in to see what was going on. My mom gave her an earful, basically yelling at her that she should be ashamed of herself acting like that in front of her kid. Had bunion surgery. I'm using crutches. All you needed to say. You have every right to use the accessible bathroom. Crutches in a stall is an idiot. They are made to be used. Karen probably still would have yelled at someone in a wheelchair for using the bathroom when she wanted it. Don't feel bad. Also, get well soon. Handicapped stalls are accessible to, not reserved for. Able-bodied people are more than welcome to use them if someone else doesn't need them immediately. You certainly are more than welcome to use them. Mom's just used to using her kid's wheelchair to get what she wants and is utterly shameless about doing so. Give those people an immediate invitation to go to hell. So this happened about 18 months ago, but I only just remembered when I came across an EP story on TikTok. Basically, I began living above a pub that I own. It has a large 2-room living room connected via an archway and curtain across it. My youngest sister and her friends began staying in one of the living rooms that had the privacy of the curtain. My office was in the other living room. This flat also has 2 large bedrooms. Mine is the biggest. My mother was helping me set up the pub since I had also gone back to university a year prior. My mother hired a chef who lived on an island nearby, e.g. Isle of Man, who had been her friend years back but whom I had never met. She had offered him a job here because he had been looking to move back home. Then all of a sudden she tells me he'll be staying in the second bedroom for a while until he gets a place sorted. I hated the idea and tried to protest a lot because I did want a strange man living with me, and this was the first place that I had to myself I hoped to enjoy being on my own. My mother mentioned that it'll only be a little while, a couple of months max. It didn't matter anyways because the guy ran. My mother's best friend, who had helped me sort the pub out a lot and I had known for years, was also in between places at this point, so after the first guy left, I suggested she move her stuff. She said it would only be for a month while she finds somewhere else, so I said no worries and she moved her stuff in. Then it turned out my mother's other best friend also started to need a place to live because he didn't want to live at home with his parents anymore. So my mum invited him to live in my flat. When she told me this I questioned where he would even stay. She replied, "He'll have your room, you stay in that living room with the curtain, and then when first best friend moves out, second best friend will move into that room and you'll get your room back." When I responded I didn't really know this best friend that well, in the 10-15 years of their friendship I met the guy only a handful of times, my mother responded, "Oh, it's only until he gets a place, it'll be about 6 months." Whenever I pushed her said I didn't feel comfortable or I wasn't going to give up my room, she would get annoyed and say she was just trying to help her friend. That Christmas the first best friend's stuff was still there, but she wasn't staying there. She had her own place, but she just left a lot of her stuff here for a while. My sister came back from uni for the holidays. And at that time we were discussing that in the summer break, she would live here too. My youngest sister was still living in the living room with her friends too. Then my mother said, "Since first best friend has a place now, second best friend can move in." I replied saying that my sister is living here, but that means my mother had a spare room, so why can't her friend live with her? Her response, "I don't want them, the second best friend and his girlfriend, living with me. I like my space." I replied, "Well, you know him better than I do, so I don't want him living with me either." She responded that he's desperate for a place to stay and mentally it's taking a toll on him, so I replied again that he should live with her then. She actually got angry because she was just helping her friend. He never ended up moving in. But it felt like my mother was always offering my spare room up to anyone that walked by. My boyfriend actually put a lock on all the doors on the inside for safety when the first guy stayed for a week. She isn't helping anyone. She is trying to get you to help her friends and then take the credit. If she wants to help them, she should put them up in her place. OP. Exactly, that's what she did with the first one that stayed. Mom, I'm not running a flop house for all your homeless friends. Do not offer up my spare room to anyone ever again. If you do, they will be turned away at the door. I hope this made your spine nice and shiny because my god, people know how to take advantage of you. OP. My mother has always got her way, she's said it herself, she knows how to get what she wants, she'll guilt trip anyone to get what she wants. I went low no contact for a while too, but having the pub gave me quite the backbone. Update. Just to clarify, I live on my own, none of her friends live with me, and I have the place to myself now. She doesn't work at the pub anymore, mentioned in a comment what happened, and now that I have my own place and the pub I've stood my ground a lot more and say no a lot more, I don't get guilty tripped anymore, and everything is good. My mother and I get on better now that we have separate lives. I just thought it was a funny story because I find the audacity hilarious. Also, my mother doesn't take no, she'll use guilt, or she'll say trust me, or she'll get angry at you. It's easier said than done growing up like that. I've said in a few comments that this has gotten better because now I know I can say no, and that is the end of it because it's my place, but it took a while to find it.